All right, thank you folks for joining today. My name is Chris Heintz. I am an education consultant with Britannica Education. Welcome to our webinar today with updates to Britannica School for the South Carolina State Library. What we're going to do today is just kind of go through some of the newer updates to Britannica School. If you've been on the platform recently, you may have noticed that there are some changes to the home pages. So I want to go over what the home pages look like, share some helpful tips and resources, and then open things up for questions at the end as well. So again, my name is Chris Heintz. I am the education consultant for the East region at Britannica. I have my contact information on the screen. So if you have any questions, if you want to reach out, if you have any problems with troubleshooting, or if you need technical support, you can reach out to either myself or our technical support team at edsupport@eb.com. Little bit about me. My background is as a social studies teacher. I got my start in education as a high school teacher in Chicago Public Schools. I now live in the western suburbs of Chicago, about 45 minutes or an hour and a half, depending on traffic, from Britannica's world headquarters in Chicago. So I work with schools and districts and state partners throughout the East region, everything east of the Mississippi. And my job is to make sure that folks have all the training and support necessary to get the most out of Britannica's resources. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. As we go through the session today, I have enabled the chat so that everybody has the ability to chat in the webinar chat box. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And again, I will open things up at the end as well for questions. We will record this. So this is currently recording. I'll make sure to send that out to Linda so that she can post that to the Discus site as well. So without any further ado, we'll jump into our session outcomes. So what I'm hoping for today is that everyone will demonstrate an understanding of the Britannica School platform. We'll learn some strategies that will help users get the most out of Britannica resources, and then explore some additional support resources to maximize the user experience. So I'll share some tools that our team has developed to really help integrate Britannica School into your classroom or media center. And how will we do that? Well, we'll go through our introduction. We'll talk about our goals here today. I'll share a little bit about Britannica as an organization, and then I'll just go in and demo Britannica School, highlight a few key areas. Knowing that this is a short webinar, we won't touch on everything, but I'll highlight the areas that I think are relatively important as we move forward. I'll share some of those additional resources, and then we'll have some reflection and closing at the end as well. In terms of accessing, and I would imagine most of you know, accessing Britannica School, you can get to it through the Discus website. Click on the AZ Resources tab, and then you can scroll to locate and click on Britannica School. One piece of good news for folks in South Carolina is that of the state partners that Britannica has, South Carolina is the fourth largest user in terms of number of user sessions among our state partners. The only states that are using Britannica School more than South Carolina are Texas, California, and New York. So three obviously very large population states, but South Carolina is right there with them in terms of user sessions within Britannica. So we're really proud to talk about that and how folks in South Carolina have really used Britannica School. And hopefully, you know, as we do this session, you see the value add, you see that Britannica can be a really trusted resource for your students as well. So I would like to ask you if you could please communicate this in the chat. Answer one of these two questions here. So what are you hoping to get out of this session today? And then what would you like to leave here knowing or being able to do? So I will mute myself and give you a minute to respond to those two questions in the webinar chat. Perfect. So how to navigate it through it to teach my students. We get a lot of comments of, folks that want kind of similar information, new information that would be helpful for next school year. To leave with tips that you can share with our teachers for the next school year, new features or locations of previous features, and the biography browse. Thank you. So I will touch on all of those as we go through our session. Thank you for sharing. And let's dive in. So as we talk about Britannica, I don't necessarily want to spend a ton of time talking about the organization. Just know everything that goes into Britannica School goes through a very rigorous editorial process. We have a very large editorial team that makes about 1,200 monthly content updates to our online resources. So we have former educators, we have subject matter experts that are contributing content to Britannica School as well. So just know that everything that goes into Britannica School has gone through many levels of fact checking. It's been edited. We have information architects to make sure that the information is accurate and relevant as well. So in Britannica School, we have 3 levels of online resources for students, plus Britannica Fundamentals for pre-K through 2. We have articles, photos, illustrations, primary source documents, maps, and more. And it's accessible anywhere, anytime, on any device. So that's, I think, a big selling point of the new layout for our home pages is that they've been optimized for mobile use as well. So it's safe, reliable, up-to-date information in the Britannica School platform. So let's take a look and see. And bear with me for 1 second. I need to click on a separate link to get us into the right environment here. So apologies. There we go. Okay. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. It looks like it's sharing properly. So you may, if you've used Britannica in the past, you may recognize we had 3 trees. So there was the young sprouting seed, the sapling, and then the large tree representing elementary, middle, and high school. That landing page has been replaced, so we have a new look landing page here. This is also, if you can see here in the top left, you see a new logo for Britannica School as well. This is the first step in a kind of a rebrand of Britannica resources. So eventually you'll see all Britannica resources are going to have a similar look and feel to what you see in Britannica School. So again, to get to your learning environment, you just go elementary, middle, or high school. You pick which learning environment you're going to. So I'm going to start with elementary, which is our K through 5 resource. So changes to the homepage, if you haven't been on in a while, we've made the search bar much more prominent at the top of the page. It used to be kind of tucked away on this header here at the top. We were told students were having difficulty finding the search if they were looking for information themselves. So we made the search bar much more prominent here at the top. We've put this moving image behind it. If you want it to pause, you click here on this icon on the left, and it will pause the feature of that moving image for students as well. If you want to do a search in Britannica, just go ahead and search whatever you're looking for. You'll have recommended articles as well. If I go here and search, let's say United States, or if I search, let's say elephant, you'll see we have recommended articles. Then we also have recommended images, videos, or other popular searches as well. I'm going to scroll down the page. Let's get rid of that. Scroll down the page and just highlight some different areas here on the new homepage. So we have the in the news section, typically related to some story students may have seen in conventional or social media. So when I click on the in the news section, it opens up in a new browser tab. We have some information about this particular story, and then we have some other resources as well. So fun facts, information about fossils, We have an image, or you can learn more about Britannica School here. It will take you to an article about a Tyrannosaurus. We have a word of the day, and then we also have a word puzzle. And then if you scroll down, you can see an in case you missed it section at the bottom. This highlights all Britannica in the news content that's been updated since this was launched in the spring of 2021, I believe. And if you click see all past news pages, you can see all of the Britannica in the news content. So if a teacher sees something, or if you're in your media center, you see a story or an in the news segment that students seem to really like, you can go ahead and find that information here. One thing to note, this is updated twice a year, or apologies, twice a week during the school year. It's updated weekly over the summer. So you'll see May 25th was the last update. Over the summer months, we will have a once per week cadence for updating in the news. As I scroll down, we have a new section here for our editorial team to highlight key topics or events. The new Explorer, this functions the same as it has in the past, so you can explore biographies, pictures and videos, and articles. Linda, since you mentioned the biography browse, I'll show you at the elementary level. When you click on biographies, you get an A to Z list. So if you click on here, you can then browse different biographies of different historical figures, and then you can search A through Z to find historical figures there. I'll demonstrate it in the middle so you'll see how it looks different at the middle school level as well. Video of the week section, highlight Britannica video content, Britannica fundamentals with games for pre-K through 2 early learners. The Animal Kingdom browse has been redesigned, so you can view by animal group. So let me click on this and show you. If you're looking for animal group, you can search by different groups here. So I want to see sea animals, mollusks, mammals, fish, etc. There's a brief description of that group and then links to articles for amphibians and reptiles below. If I look at habitat, I can search by different types of habitats for animals. If I want to see animals that live in wetlands, again, now we have a description of wetlands and then animals that live there. And then if you want to just see an A to Z list, you can search like that as well. And then scrolling down to the bottom here, we have our geography tools. So our World Atlas and Tour the USA tools. These are powered by Google Maps. You can highlight certain areas. So if I click on Canada, you'll see here it says I'm viewing North America, Canada. And if I click on summary, I get a summary of the country that I'm looking at. I can see a profile here. I can see related content as well. If I go in a little bit closer, now you see I'm looking at North America, United States, South Carolina, and then I can get that same information for the state that I'm focused on here. And then we have the Compare Countries tool. Geography Explorer is a little game. It's a game where students identify continents, landforms, and other things on a world map. But the Compare Countries tool here, you can highlight different countries, and you can showcase how countries are similar or the same, or different, right? Form of government, executive branch, capitals, language, etc. There's a number of different metrics that it will compare these countries against one another. If you do this from the middle school level, you have a bit longer list of content that the countries are compared across. So that's the elementary homepage. One thing to point out here is that if I go to any article, let's just click on this article here, you'll notice that the interface behind the homepage is the exact same as it was prior to the Britannica facelift of the homepages. So the homepage was the only thing that our team touched that they updated the code for. Articles, images, videos, they all function the same as they have in the past. You have your toolbar for elementary on the right side of the page where you can favorite content to your My Britannica account. You can print, email, or cite. You can adjust the font size up or down, and you can translate the content as well using Google Translate. The nice thing about Google Translate is that if I hover over a sentence, it will highlight the sentence that I'm reading as well as the original text of the article. The other accessibility functions here, there's a read aloud function.
Larry Itliong was a Filipino-born U.S. activist.
And then if I'm not sure about a particular word, what that means as I'm reading through it, I can double click on the term, and I can get a quick dictionary definition, a Spanish translation, as well as a pronunciation.
Movement.
The other thing to point out, the reading level here in the top right. So if a student is in the elementary level, they want something that's a little bit more challenging, or maybe this is a topic they're very interested in, they want to learn more and have a bit more robust article to read, they can click on reading level 2, and it will take them to the middle school article that focuses on the same content. Okay. Any questions before we dive into Britannica Middle? I'll pause for a second, ask if there's any questions in the chat. Okay, reading none, we will move forward. And again, if you have any questions, then I will address those as we go on. Yes, reading level 2 is roughly middle school. Reading level 3 is high school content. That is correct. So when you're looking at the articles, reading level 1 shows you the elementary content. Number 2 is the middle school. Number 3 is the high school. All right, so middle school homepage is laid out much the same as elementary. Again, a much more prominent search bar here, and in the news section that's focused on middle school content. We have another editorial area here for editorial team to highlight biographies or highlight key content related to educational themes or current events. We have also our tabs here for exploring. And just to show you the difference of the biography browse in the middle school, instead of seeing an A to Z list, you can actually filter by era. So if you want to look at modern or ancient historical figures, you can filter by national or cultural association. You can filter by what a person is known for. So what field they worked in, and then gender, male or female. So it allows you to browse and filter out content. The one thing I will say is that if you use all of the filters, there is the possibility that if you're looking for let's say, somebody before 500 CE who's known for cabinet making, it's likely that you're going to filter out all of the biographies. So just kind of be careful using that to make sure that kids are casting a wide enough net to find historical figures to research in there. Scrolling down, we have a collections here for our at a glance resources. So if I click on this, we're highlighting a section about Asian Americans. So if I click on our at a glance, it will take you to the Asian American at a glance page where we have a brief discussion of Asian Americans and then different biographies, so different key historical or modern figures of folks that are Asian American. So this at a glance section, we have these for many different groups of people, for many different topics, and they are highlighted in this collection tab here. A Did You Know section with some engaging video content that plays directly in the Britannica homepage. Our Compare Countries and Territories tool, and just to show you here, again, if we're comparing these countries, middle school, again, has a larger number of criteria that they're being compared. And scrolling all the way down to the bottom is our primary sources. So if I click here, it'll take you into a search. We're looking for all of the different inaugural addresses here for United States presidents. So that's kind of the key updates of the interface here for the Britannica homepages. There are a couple other things that I wanted to highlight in Britannica School. So if we look through, first off is our Ready for Research guide. So I'll show you where to find this. You can access this from the Students tab in middle or high school. It's a 5-step guide to help students organize their research projects. It has graphic organizers, it has activities, it's linked to standards as well. And we have other guides. We have book reviews, presentations, research papers, and science reports. So if I go to the middle school homepage, I click on Students, you can see all of the different PDFs that make up the Ready for Research guide here at the top. Our other how-to guides are down here at the bottom for book reviews, presentations, research papers, or science reports. Next thing I wanted to highlight was a My Britannica account. So if you do not have a My Britannica account, it is free to create one. It is not a required component of using Britannica School, but it does allow you to favorite content and create resource packs. So you can create one or sign into one by clicking on My Britannica in the top right corner. You can either create a unique username and password or sign in with Google integration. I'm going to sign in with my Google account here. And just to show you a little bit of what you can do, you can click on an article, any article that you have here. This is a video here about Malala Yousafzai. If I click here on the star icon, it will add this to my favorites. I can also create a resource pack to add this to. And then if I go to my favorites, you can see all of the content that I have favorited before. If I click on resource packs, I can see any resource packs that I have created. Let me just show you this Britannica demo here. It has 8 items in it. You can curate all of this information and share it directly with your students. So I've got some information in here, some articles, some videos, some images, and you can share this directly with either a link, you can email it to students, or you can share it through Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams. The nice thing about resource packs as well is that when you are editing them, you can add in your own content. You can upload your own documents. So if you create a resource pack that has a number of different resources you want students to work with, and then you have a PDF graphic organizer or worksheet that you want them to complete along with that resource pack, you can upload that directly into Britannica and share it with the students that way. Last thing that I wanted to share with you is our Britannica asset library. And I will share the link directly with you in the chat here. So if I go to BritannicaEducation.com, resources, and then asset library. Let me pop this link in the chat here. The one thing to point out is that you can highlight different Britannica products here. I like to filter by Britannica School, because when I go into the Britannica School list of classroom materials, we have scavenger hunts, we have case studies, and then we have dozens of graphic organizers that you can use. I really like the jigsaw puzzle one here. It's a nice way that you can give students 4 different pieces of information, right? Image, video, primary source, secondary source, and they can then put together how each piece helped them to understand their main point or their topic. So there's a lot of information in here. Let me give you this direct link here should take you right to the Britannica School filtered one. But it'll give you a lot of ways that you can use this in the classroom as well. 30 minutes goes by very quickly. So let me go ahead and put up this QR code for a survey. If you can please submit this survey, let us know how we did so that we can share our feedback with both Britannica as well as our partners at Discus. But that brings us to the end of the time here. Again, went by very quickly, but does anyone have any questions, any comments, feedback about Britannica School or the link to the resources? So, oh, my apologies. There we go. Looks like I did not send that to everyone, so sorry about that. Put the link in there so everyone should be able to access the resources there. Great. Well, thank you everyone for your time. Again, please complete the questionnaire, the survey here at the end using this QR code. But if you have any questions, again, my contact information, cheintz@eb.com. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about Britannica School.